Hey everyone, I'm Mark,
And I'm Alex.
and this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks. Welcome everyone to episode 45 of the podcast. We're of course really glad that you're here, and we hope that you're enjoying our Final Fantasy X playthrough, walkthrough, whatever the heck you want to call it. So continuing on, we just finished up last episode with either if you decided to pray with Walker or not pray. I didn't pray, and he just ends like, okay, that'll do it. And it's like, whatever, man. So now you got free range. Of course, in my video coming out tomorrow, if you're listening to this on the day of release, I did have to go back and grab that energy blast, but if you do go ahead and move forward, I like this area. The screen's pretty interesting because there's lots of ruins here, right? I mean, especially compared to the other areas in Besaid, and it's really cool, but you don't really actually get to see too much of it at the beginning.
No, but it is kind of cool because, this game is so linear, but a lot of these
Yes.
areas they use like camera angle to kind of make it seem a little bit different, you know what I mean? So this one kind of starts you off looking up at the top of these ruins. And as you're going along, you can even see, or at least later, you can see like a save sphere up there.
Yes.
And so it's kind
Yep.
of cool how they let you see that.
Yeah, it is, because you will not be able to interact with that for a very long time. And of course, we won't spoil any of that. But yes, go ahead and move forward. We're looking at the ruins, and now we get a pretty cool cinematic. We got this, that angry panther looking guy. He's like, jumping from ruin to ruin, does some like backflips, and, I don't know, but he's just going crazy. And then he gets all angry and he slams his fist to the ground. It's like, look, bro, we ain't got no beef with you, dude. Take a chill pill, all right? Like, Lulu already let us have it, all right? She already did it. We don't
Yeah.
need bad cop and worse cop coming for it, but nope, he's pretty angry.
This is like Tidus getting hazed or something, you know?
Yeah.
All the crew members are pretty much letting him have it and just they're like, you know what, who the heck are you? Like, we're gonna test you a little bit, see how tough you really are.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what this is. You get into a fight with him right away.
Yeah, Chapu wannabe. Unbelievable. So
Yeah.
yes, it of course is Kimahri, I actually don't think we've ever heard his name up to this point. And
Mhm.
I may have just ruined it right there. Maybe it doesn't even have his name in the attack window. I'm not sure. Maybe you know, but pretty straightforward though. I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't even have cheer like I did in my playthrough, I have finally decided, yes, I am going to be using Lulu, Kimahri, and Waka. So no Tidus, and so I literally won't use him, right? So I haven't even moved his sphere grid. I won't, so I didn't have cheer. So literally the only thing I had was attack and potions.
Yep. And that's pretty much all you need. This battle's kind of a mix between timed battle and one in which you have to just do enough damage, but should get by with only having to use like one potion.
Yeah.
If
Or
that.
if you're lucky, I mean, my Tidus dodged like 2 of his attacks, so I didn't even
Yeah.
need to use one. And I will say, isn't it pretty cool how we don't really know this at the moment, but he uses an ability jump, right? And so, you'll get into it a few attacks and then he'll use jump and then you'll attack like once and then he'll use jump again. It's like, dude, how are you getting an overdrive like every other turn here, dude? What the heck is this?
I was gonna say that's funny that you point that out.
Yeah,
It'd be nice if that was the case, but we'll find out about that later.
Jeez, what's with that guy? He's Kimahri, Ronso from the Ronso tribe. That's not what I meant. And then here comes Yuna. Hee. We don't understand him either. Sorry that he tried to kill you, though. What the heck, man? This isn't cool. I'm putting my foot down, man. It's gotta stop.
Oh, but I love that part with Lulu because then she goes, "He's learned the themes while you're fighting,"
Yeah.
and then it's like, "That's not what I meant." She's like giving us a bio on him.
Yeah, it's like, look, dude,
basically.
we didn't want to know. You didn't say who is that guy. What was with that guy? Come on here.
Yeah, why is he attacking us? Pretty
Yeah,
much.
exactly. Oh man. All right. Well, regardless, we got to just move forward here. We will get into another kind of tutorial fight rather, and it's a giant bird this time. It's a Garuda, right? And thing looks pretty beastly, and it's hilarious because Tidus is like, "It's a fire, man. It's yours, Waka." And he's like, true."
Yeah, but let's see what our summoners got. Let's show you what Yuna's got here. So then you pretty much just summon Balfour at this point, and
Yes.
that's what this tutorial battle is teaching you, I guess, is to how to use summons, how they are in battle.
Yes, because it is much different. Then, well, and maybe you can speak to any of the previous titles before 7, because again, I only have experience from 7 on, and I mean, summons are a move. You know, you just use it does its little video playthrough, and then it's done. It does its damage, and so this is way different up to this point because you actually get to use them and use abilities, and it's actually a really cool idea.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite systems for the summons. The only other one that I can think of that's even remotely close to this is Final Fantasy 12, where they walk around with you on screen and they use moves, and you can kind of use some of theirs, but
13 also, when you do Assault, you get to kind of use their abilities, but
13,
but it is I guess that is kind of similar, isn't it? It's essentially, but this was the first one like this, and really, really awesome system.
Yeah, and I mean, pretty much like L4, you don't even have to worry. I mean, L4 comes with all 4 of the elemental level 1 black magic.
Yeah.
Got Sonic Wings, and if you just use that over and over, it's got a delay to it to where Garuda basically it'll be skipping like every other turn.
Yeah, he hardly gets any attacks in. Doesn't do much damage though, so it is kind of a longer way of dealing it. But of course, we won't go too much into detail right now. I mean, I guess we can just kind of explain summons as they go. But you know, you do have the few different tactics, like because you can use defend and boost. Boost, it's it just helps his overdrive grow faster essentially and all that stuff. But yeah, essentially at this battle, you can't really go wrong. He's gonna be able to win no problem.
Yeah, and boost is a risky strategy. And like Mark said, we'll get into this a little bit later when it's more important. There's definitely some battles coming up to where this will be useful. But boost increases the damage that you take by like 1.5 or maybe even 2. It does a lot more damage pretty much. So yes, your overdrive will boost up that much. And then I think with defend, they take 1/4 of the damage or something like that. So
yeah, but I don't think overdrive grows at all for defend, right?
Nope.
Yeah, so
that's it.
You got a bunch of different tactics, and yes, we will get into more of that as we move forward. And so keep walking, and you get into the last, thankfully, tutorial battle here, and it's another Garuda. And now Waka, he I don't know, he had his Red Bull, he woke up, like something happened, but now he's ready to go ahead and actually do some fighting. And so this kind of just introduces his dark attack that obviously is just a normal attack that inflicts blind, which I never really understood this one too much because it's like, okay, yeah, guys, blind has been in Final Fantasies for quite a while now, like are you just showing that he has this ability? Like, I guess maybe that's what it is. Hey, if you didn't check out his abilities, he does have this. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna come in handy really soon here. His abilities are pretty sweet, honestly, like between the dark and then he gets some other ones down the road that are really useful. And with these ones, I'm trying to remember what it is, what the rate of hitting is, but pretty much if they're not immune to it, I think it almost hits all the time.
Yeah.
If they are, then you have to take into like how resistant they are to that status. But anyways, it lasts for 3 turns if it works. So it's pretty good.
It is pretty sweet. It is also 5 MP and he only has 10, so you can only use it twice.
That's the other problem with Waka at this stage. Waka and Tidus, they have like no MP.
No MP, yeah. Now I think I've used one of the first MP spheres on Waka a few times. I mean, it's not too far into his grid that he actually gets MP, for the first one, but still, it's just like, come on, dude, man, this is pathetic. You only got 10.
Yeah. No, I feel you. And then there is actually one other little tutorial battle, or at least I think I always get into this one. Further on by the waterfalls, you get into a battle with all 3 of the tutorial enemies.
Is that a guaranteed one? I mean, I always just assume that was a random one, but now you mention it, it is always the same. Yeah,
always
it's
exactly
one of each.
Right there. Always there. And I mean, if you try to train around here, you won't often get into that battle.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's pretty cool because it gives you a lot of AP. It's got the bird, the wolf, and the water flame.
And just a cool little thing, there's not many moments in the game, and especially moving forward further in the story, these kind of start to drop off. But kind of the character interactions, right? Because, for instance, on my game, I did have Waka, because I didn't want to switch in Tidus. I had Waka throw a ball at one of the dogs, didn't kill him, and Lou's like, "Why don't you let the boy handle that one?" And it's just kind of cool like that, right? Because if you do use them in the wrong roles, like they're trying to train you, they will like correct each other. It's pretty funny.
The best one is when you try to attack the bird with Tidus, and Lulu just be like, "You best watch yourself. That's Waka's bird or something."
Waka's like, hey, man. No.
She literally says, "You best watch yourself."
Oh gosh, Lulu's so sassy in the beginning here. She's kind of mean. Anyways, so you can now stay and grind and fight if you want. There's some great benefits. Obviously, is to get going on experience and levels. You can also get you can get the drops essentially from them. Kind of build that up if you want. I don't know. I tend to just move forward. I don't really worry about it too much. I kind of would rather just get Kimahri in here soon. And not even like for, this playthrough, obviously I want to get him. But, just in general, it's like, man, if I'm going to sit here and kind of grind, I'd rather have Kimahri also be able to use him.
The AP is pretty bad too.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's not really that great of growth. So if you do go ahead, the whole point is we're working towards the docks and the ship. So if you go that way into the beach, it's kind of like the send-off, right? And we don't really know the gravity of this moment if you're just playing through for the first time, but everyone's, boo-hooing it up and crazy. But make sure you do talk to everyone. Some of them you do have to talk. Well, actually, I think most of them you do have to talk to twice in order to get items. But things that they give you they'll give you an ether, they'll give you 400 gil. You can get 300 Phoenix, 300. That'd be great if you get 300.
Yeah.
Three Phoenix Downs.
There you go. 300.
300, man, they set you up for the whole game. They're like, you're gonna be dying a lot, and then you can get a Seeker's Ring. So not too bad, man. Oh, and then also some other dude gives you a remedy. So.
Yep. No, the Seeker's Ring is pretty good too. It's got HP plus 10 for Yuna, so that's a nice. Usually at this point you barely have anything for equipment, so that's something nice to go.
Yeah.
And then they're about to leave, and you got the crying scene with the little kid.
He's waving, just waving. It's like, yeah. It's like, yeah, what a man. This island's just full of crybabies now. We can't harp on them too much because, again, if we knew what the gravity of the situation, but if you're watching it for the first time, you're like, what are you guys doing, man? We're just going to Luca real quick. Goodness gracious. Everyone's crying and boo-hooing. All right, so of course now we're on the boat, which is the SS Leaky, I guess. I guess that's how you say it. Liki.
Yeah, I don't know how to say it.
We'll just call it that, whatever. And we get probably one of the best scenes in the game, in my opinion. I like it. I think it's just hysterical. It makes no sense, but it goes to like a view of someone looking through binoculars. You can figure that out. And then all of a sudden, here goes, hello! Like Tidus just pokes his head down. Does like some acrobatic thing, pushes the dude down, does a monkey walk, steals the binoculars, and it's like, dude, could you not have just said, hey bro, can I borrow those real quick? That would be, no, you can't do that. You can't just ask people for things. You have to do some crazy mean thing to them.
He's like doing a handstand on the dude's shoulders.
Pushes him to the ground. Does all that.
Yeah.
And then, we can't say much here about the reasoning behind this, but naturally, the first thing you do if you're getting those binoculars is we look around. Oh, there's Lulu's dress. What are we? Oh, we're going up. Oh, we're pausing at the boobs. Okay, yeah.
There's a very noticeable pause.
Very noticeable.
Yeah, it's really funny.
And then she looks. It's like, oh, whoops. Oh yeah, we were just looking at Yuna. No big deal. Yuna waves, and it's like, okay, first of all that other creepiness aside, how creepy is it to just be staring at people literally 10 feet from you in binoculars? Like, dude, that's that's why you got those from this dude, was just to stare at the chicks? He's worse than Zidane, man.
I mean, it was just so funny the way he did it, because it's like, going up, and then that noticeable pause, like right there. So funny.
All right. So, anyways, things to do on the ship. Go inside the ship first. If you go and talk to Yuna, which is, thing, that's how you progress. You don't want to do that. You'll miss out on things. Inside the actual ship, you got a few things. The first thing that happens is you got some dude that's like talking about your clothes, and then he goes, "Yuck, filthy. Those won't sell at all." And it's like, dude, what the heck, man? That. Everyone's just being so mean to us all the time.
His accent, though, is so great. It's like, these won't do, or my name's not Awaka.
Oh, my name's not Awaka.
So good.
Awaka the who?
Like a mix.
Don't know me. Well, not many do yet.
Yeah. It is Awaka the 23rd.
Merchant extraordinaire.
Yeah, apparently there's been 23 other Awakas,
Dude,
which is crazy to think.
that is a long, very strong family line. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. But yes, so we don't look like we have much money. We stink. And it's like, a good way to ask a lad for a bit of gill is to insult him heavily beforehand. Dude, I don't want to give you a dime now. No, thank you.
Yeah, and this is one of the weirdest things because you've got it down on the notes here too, and I always have to look this up every time. So basically, this guy will sell stuff through the first portion of the game. It's certain like points in the story,
Yep.
and the prices of the stuff that he sells depends on how much money you lend him. But the catch is, you would think that the more, lending him money at all would decrease the price.
Of course.
Well, sort of yes and no, but it's weird because if you lend him money, so if you don't lend him anything, his prices increase by 100%. But he'll do that even up to 100 gil.
Yeah.
And then from there, 101 to 1,000, his prices will only, and I say only, increase by 50%.
Ooh,
So,
getting there.
and so on and so forth. So,
Yeah, well, and that's a good point too, because it's like if you don't invest, if you choose not to, well, his prices will increase by 100%. You know what I mean? So it is recommended to at least give him 101 gil. If you really don't want this guy, I don't want him either. He's a scumbag. He's insulted my intelligence and my good name. Good day, sir. But at least give him 101 gil. That way the prices will only increase by 50%. And of course, this is cumulative. So we will have multiple chances to give him money. But at the same time, it always comes up on me faster than I'm expecting. You know what I mean? I always think I have more time than I do. And so Alex already hit that threshold. The next one is kind of the recommended amount right now, because you do have, if you've collected all the gil and stuff, you should have at least 1,000 gil. And so give him 1,001 gil at least, and his price is only increased by 20%. You can't actually even buy anything from it right now, so it is really a kind of an investment. But you also don't really need money right now. Like you don't really need it for a while. And so may as well do that. But what you're going for here is you want to hit that 10,000 in one. Don't give him more than that, but 10,001 gil. And then in the end, his prices will decrease finally by 30%.
If you know what he's going to sell, you definitely want to give him some money and try to get to that 10,000 gil mark. But I can tell you from my playthroughs, you're only really going to get there if you do a lot of training.
Yes.
So bear that in mind, but also, like what you just said, I mean, his stuff isn't like, it's helpful to get it to decrease a little bit, but he sells some pretty awesome equipment in a little bit here, so.
Yeah, and that's why at least just give him 1,001 gil. Get it to the increase of 20%. That's an easy 80% decrease you just did there by giving him a whopping 101 gil, so, or 1,001 gil. So some other things is there's a room. It is to the left in that room with the Waka there. You got, I think it's Letty. It's one of them. He's seasick, man. He's throwing up, and so naturally Keepa's hiding behind a curtain.
They're all hiding,
because he says like if he sees him getting sick, he will feel sick, and so it's just kind of funny. It's like, dude, of all the people, you're the fastest one hiding behind this tiny little curtain. I don't think it's doing much, but whatever. And then something I literally never knew, man, until I made these notes. I never knew this, unless I just don't remember, but I don't think I have ever done this with kicking the suitcase. I really don't think I have.
It is pretty funny. So there's a suitcase in the room, like over to the right side of the wall, just sitting there.
Yeah.
And if you go over to it and press X, Tidus kicks it and you get a potion. So it is a really weird mechanic. It's the only time in this game that you have something like this, and just in general, I mean, it's a weird thing that they did, because the way it works is basically you'll get a potion, you'll get infinite potions as long as you have less than 20. So if there was a way for you to sell them on the ship, you could actually farm these for money.
Yeah,
but
forever. That's funny.
Unfortunately, you can't do that. So
no, and I just pretended that they were Owaka's potions, and it made me feel a lot better about myself. Yeah, stealing his Dane potions. And I just think it's funny that you kick a suitcase, and what does one just like roll out? It's like ding ding. It's like, ooh, a potion. Kick. Ooh, a potion. Okay. It's
Yeah.
really, really funny
I
mechanic.
mean, maybe Letty could be using those for seasickness. I don't know.
Yeah. So you can go downstairs. There's a stairwell. It's once again, it's by Awaka. You can go down there, and it says power room before you get down there. It's pretty funny because Tyler goes, "Whoa, what is this place?" And she's like, "It's the power room, like it says
Like
on
it
the
says
door."
on the door.
Duh, come on.
Yep, yep. And basically, he's like, yeah, okay, fine, but what's with the big birds? What's so strange about chocobo power?
Like, that's a chocobo? She's like, you ever seen one? What kind of backwater island
Yeah,
are you from? It's like, okay, Xanarkin aside, chick, you are literally driving a boat from Kilika to Besaid, the two least populated areas in all of Spira that we know of, at
yeah.
least, and you're talking about a backwater island. Goodness gracious.
Oh, I know, right? And I mean, this is also where Tidus kind of says he's like oddities and just craziness
And
is
miracles, I think, or something
becoming.
like that.
Yeah, exactly. Is becoming pretty much every day here.
Yeah.
'Cause he's just like, this is
Yeah,
all
because
so
you got a
crazy.
giant bird, all this. I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
if you walked outside of your house tomorrow morning and you saw a giant chicken, you'd be like, what the heck is that?
like- It's like, but the funniest thing about it too is it's like a hamster and a wheel running it. They're just like
Yeah.
running away. They got the Gasol greens as like a bait for them to
Yep.
keep running. So funny.
It's chocobo power, man. Hey, not a bad
Yeah.
idea. And keep in mind, guys, that's how strong chocobo. Two chocobos, powered that boat. And please keep that in mind for what's following because it's just funny to think about. Anyway, so go back on deck. You can kind of go around Yuna if you want, but nothing happens. So you got to talk to Waka, and basically he's just like, is Yuna, is she like famous or something like that? And he's like, she's the daughter of High Summoner Braska, something about a legacy or something like that. And so once again she's popular, and then of course Tidus is like, it's hard when your father's famous. Huh? Waka's lacking in the imagination department. What the heck, man?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that laugh, and then he does the little like hand gesture thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
man, it's good stuff. It's poor Waka, but at this point, the crowd does dissipate, and you can go and actually talk to Yuna. And I'll let you take this one, man.
The wind, it's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like, oh gosh, man,
laughing.
cringe number one.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, nice icebreaker there. That was golden. Please put that.
Why
in
was that even funny?
Yeah. Oh, you said the wind's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't come up with anything else to say.
You couldn't think of anything else. Very awkward. Well, we have many more to come between those two, as we all know at this point. But kind of an interesting thing where, and I kind of forget how it starts, but essentially she like talks about, wait, she asked him if he plays blitzball or is from Xanarkin. He's like, yeah, plays blitzball. And she starts talking about the stadium. She hears that it's lit up and that people cheer. How'd you know that? Cause it's a blitzball stadium. You can put two and two together, pal. It's not that hard. I mean, come on.
Yeah, seriously. But apparently, a man named Jecht told her. And then all of a sudden, it's like, you know what? It all just drops pretty much. And Tidus is like, oh man, you gotta be kidding me.
My father, his name is Jet.
Yeah.
Amazing. And then it's funny, he's like, it sounds like him, but, he died 10 years ago or something like that. It is kind of an interesting point because, that he did drop that whole, he died at sea 10 years ago. He was never found. And then that's when Yuna realizes, she's like, well, but that's when he arrived in Spira. She met him 10 years, 3 months, 15 days, 4 hours, and 3 minutes ago is what she said. And so, and then she gets him a Xener though, because Tidus is like, but how'd he get here? He's like, well.
It's like, well, you're here, aren't you?
Yeah, you're here. He's like,
yep.
Oh, he's like, she got me, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have this really weird thing where, as she says, the dates match up. He was somehow transported into this world. Maybe Jecht could have been transported into this world 10 years ago.
Yep.
But it's all getting pretty crazy now, It's like
It's
the
very interconnected, yeah. It kind of
yeah.
shows that there is some sort of link between the two. And it's kind of interesting to think of that though, because we do know that Xanarkand it does exist. It exists in this world. It may be ruins and it was destroyed 1,000 years ago, but yet it was somehow there as well. And so it's kind of like the only thing we know is sin is kind of like the catalyst at this point that apparently can transport people 1,000 years into the future is
Yeah.
basically all we know at this point, but a really interesting thing.
And then right after this scene, we get into a lovely boss battle, um,
Dude.
which we'll get into, but
Uh,
a pretty awesome scene here where basically Sin's fin like pops out of the ocean and everything like that.
Honestly, after all this happened, if I was that crew, we'd be like, Tidus, you're walking the plank, dude. Like, Sin's
Yeah.
obviously been following you around nonstop. Get out of here, kid. Like, we're just dumping you at sea.
Yeah, you're bad luck, dude. Sorry.
And so I put a little parody of a song, the song that never ends, right? Because it's true. This is the battle that can never end. It's totally up to you. You can fight this forever. A very interesting dynamic. So eventually, to kind of link this together, is yes, Sin shows up and apparently he's headed towards Kilika, which is where we're going right now. We're going there because we need to pray at the temple, and that's what Waka filled us in on. I forgot about that too. And before going to Luca, and so the dudes are like, "Yo, we got at least distracted with our 2 harpoons. Apparently, is going to distract Sin, whatever."
Yeah, I don't understand
And
this.
not only that, but who could miss? Like, Sin's fin is like a giant, it's a giant skyscraper. And
Yeah.
a dude missed it with the harpoon. One dude hit it. The other dude just missed. How? He's a fisherman, man. He's like out there at sea. How do you miss that? It's like,
Yeah.
goodness gracious.
Yeah, one of the harpoons gets in, and lo and behold, it didn't really distract Sin at all because it's still just heading towards Kilika. So now the boat's just getting dragged,
Dude,
like in
those
one
poor
direction.
chocobos, like I said, keep that in mind. Those chocobos were running over time in those wheels. They're like,
Yeah.
what the heck, man?
Now we're hitching a ride with Sin.
Yeah. And so, yes, interesting dynamic of the battle. Naturally it's Sin, so some Sin scales break off on the deck, and you got to fight them. And then Sin's fin will switch side to side like every 5 turns or something like that.
Yeah.
And you got 3 characters that can actually hit it. So obviously you're ranged. You got Waka, Lulu, and then you do get Kimahri now, and he has Lancet, which does minor damage. It actually does slightly less than Waka. And so if you do want to fast track this battle, those are the 3 that you pretty much just want to have in, or at least switch in right as the fins on either side. But if you don't attack the fin, you can essentially just farm those Sin scales forever. And I know for a fact, man, you and I, a couple of times, we spent some time on that battle.
Oh, yeah. And there's a strategy for getting the most out of it, too. So here's what you want to do, really. You get that team that you were talking about with Waka, Kimahri, and Tidus in there. And then you just use cheer 5 times. Kimahri should be pretty much hitting overkill every time. Same with Tidus. And so, if you do this for like 5-10 minutes, you'll get 99 strength spheres or power spheres. Sorry, not strength spheres.
No, that would be great with the 300
man,
Phoenix sounds.
Man, yeah. We're on a roll today, guys.
You guys are getting some stuff in the beginning, let me tell you.
300 Phoenix Downs and 99 strength spheres. So yeah, you can just, and then that's all you have to do. And the annoying thing about this fight is, like Mark said, the fin moving back and forth just keeps happening. It stops the battle, and you get this little scene where it's moving.
A little animation, just slows it down big time. And so if you do decide to farm it and all that stuff, then there you go. If you don't and you just want to end it, I mean, obviously the recommendation is just kill 2 of them, so that way only one's up, and just defend or do whatever. I mean, if you just hit triangle or Y or whatever controller you're using on, just to basically just skip, and you can attack it, but it goes pretty quick regardless, especially if you're using all 3 of those guys in, and then. At that point, the battle's over. Like the rope snaps or whatever. I'm surprised that rope held on. I mean, gosh, did you see that boat? That boat is massive. That was
it's
very
like made out of stone or something.
I know,
like that,
dude.
Too.
Very impressive. Very with the rough seas and all that. Very impressive rope. Whoever made that rope, they need to contact that guy. But
Yeah.
anyways, essentially Sin splashes, bunch of water goes on deck, and I mean everyone is on board, right? Wrong. Who out of 2 ships with 2 full crews, who gets washed off each time? It ain't Waka. It's not Riku. It's Tidus. Well, that dude just does not know how to stay on his feet.
And I love the part here too, because you see the harpoon gun is off, was sheared off the deck.
Yeah.
And then all you hear, they're like looking around for Tidus. It's just like,
they're like, oh no.
And then Waka just dives off because he's like, oh great, the kid's in the water again, of course. Goes in to go save him.
Tidus is getting attacked by Sin Scales. He uses a potion, heals him, whatever. But now here we go. We get another boss, and that's kind of the 2-tier boss. And if you're doing this for the first time, man, you were not expecting this. And you really were screwed over if Tidus and Waka were, not at full health or something, because maybe you had them in and fighting Sin Scales and they're getting attacked.
This is like the real boss battle here. And kind of an introduction. Well, although we've already been fighting the piranhas underwater, but basically you'll notice that we only have Waka and Tidus.
Yep.
So Lulu and Yuna and Kimahri, they can never be underwater for some reason.
No, they don't know how to swim.
So the reason why this boss is tough is because it's only 2. You've just got those 2, and this guy can be kind of a pain. Basically, the Sin Scales come in pairs on either side of them, and they sort of do an attack. They run through you, do about 50 damage, and then they're gone. So like what you have here on the notes, pretty much, you don't want to bother attacking the Sin Scales. They'll just come and go.
Exactly.
But you want to focus on the boss.
Focus on the boss. Yeah, because, they're infinite. They'll just keep coming nonstop. You could, and it's like, yeah, you could negate that damage, but at the same time, that just means more turns for the boss to hit you. So in the end game, you'd be kind of working against yourself there by doing that. And so at this point, especially with Waka and Tidus, you're very limited on your tactics here. Cheer, of course, would help out a ton if you have it. I don't, again. And so I was like, whatever. And then Dark Attack. And so that's kind of just the go-to there. Just you can only use Dark Attack twice. Just use it. He only has two abilities, Drain Touch, which sounds like it is. I think it does maybe 60 or 70 damage, and it just, it drains the health. And then Blender. I think Blender hits all the time, right? Even if he's under Dark Attack?
Exactly. Blender he uses every 3 or 4 turns, hits everybody regardless of darkness, and it does about 90 damage or so. So that one kind of sucks. Drain Touch isn't as big of a deal, but Dark Attack is really nice for getting rid of that because I think he hits a little bit less than 70.
Yeah, it might be 50 or so, something like that.
Yeah, but regardless, it can make this battle a lot harder because this guy has 2,000 HP at least.
Yeah, it just prolongs it by doing that. So that's the main thing for Dark Attack. And so other than that, potions, you definitely will have to use potions in this fight no matter what. It's a gimme. You're going to be getting hit by stuff, but just keep everyone alive, Dark Attack, cheer, and yeah, it should be good. Maybe you'll get an overdrive if you're lucky enough and get hit enough, or depending on how close they are.
And after this battle, you finally get to reap the rewards of all of that grind that you did in the previous one, if you did it. So after this, you're probably like the times that you were talking about where we grinded on this, you can get 5, 7 sphere levels for Kimahri sometimes. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, my playthrough, I did not. I tried to end it as fast as possible, and so I got.
You'll still get a few.
Meager. I got meager rewards, but it was good enough. And as soon as that battle's over, though, it goes to another one of the crazy cinematics, and we actually. I like this one a lot because we finally kind of get a first glimpse of Sin. And their distraction did not work in the least sense because he went straight for Kilika anyways and started just blasting it with tsunami waves looking almost look like. And he has his gravitational pull thing where it's just kind of, it's just sucking everything in, the planks, the trees. Everything, man. It's crazy when you think about it because, man, I didn't think about that, especially when it first came. And it's seriously, imagine you're on that dock and you just look up and you see that coming. You just have a split second to just be scared, and that's it. That's it. It's over.
No, it's a really sad scene. I mean, it's kind of like what happens to, a lot of small villages and stuff in the Caribbean where they have a hurricane come
Yeah.
through and all of the wood walkways and planks and the little huts and everything just get completely destroyed. And at the very end, you get like this really symbolic scene of just a blitz ball floating in the water amid
Yeah.
all of the like wood wreckage and all this stuff. It's really horrible.
Yeah, it's crazy. And one little note too on Sin is if you have to look pretty hard because while the cinematic and graphics are fantastic even by today's standards, I'm just gonna say that, especially on a PlayStation 2. I mean, come on,
Yeah, they were
you
really
can
pushing
you
it.
can kind of see like a tower looking thing on Sin's head. Like it's kind of, I mean, I'm assuming it's his head. It kind of, but you
Yeah,
can kind of see it. It almost looks like some I don't know, looks like a tower or some buildings or
like
something.
an
It's just
ancient city.
yeah,
Yeah.
kind of interesting. I don't know. I mean, it's a poor taste of a hat, in my opinion. He should have went for a ball cap or something. But like,
Yeah.
it's kind of an interesting. Like I said, after you watch these over and over again, I kind of try to look at things that I don't usually look at. Because usually you're just
Yeah.
watching for the fun of it. But I'm trying to look in the areas here and there on the screen that
Trying to
you
get
know
the details.
exactly. And sometimes you
Yeah.
pick some things up, and it's like, wow, man, I never really noticed that before. And so
Yep. It was on that day, under the burning sun,
under the burning
that
sun.
I started to realize. Yeah, so Titus is feeling real out of place at this point,
Yeah.
and he's not going home.
No, and that's what, right? He mentioned how he hoped it worked in reverse. Like Sin took him here, maybe Sin can take him back. He's kind of like losing hope and going back home, essentially. Like because up to this
Yeah.
point, it's like, yeah, maybe I'll just get home somehow. But now he's kind of realizing like, I think this is just where I'm at now.
Yep.
And unfortunately, especially after experiencing all that, he's like, this sucks. Like
Yeah, well, I
I was
mean,
about to date that chick from the East Block on the third row, fifth from the right, and nope, not anymore.
yeah, seriously, because this time came in contact with Sid again, didn't get transported, so
Yeah,
it's
so okay,
not
hold on.
100%.
Why doesn't everyone after this have sin toxin? Why isn't,
Oh,
why
that
isn't
whole
that a
thing?
thing? They all came
Yeah.
very close contact with sin. They were basically like riding through its farts. Like, I mean, they were right behind it the whole time. And no one got the toxin. It's just like, it doesn't matter
I don't
anymore.
know. Yeah,
Double
it's like
standards, man.
the toxin thing is never fleshed out. Like how close do you actually have to be to sin to get affected by the toxin? How often do people?
Yeah.
Because it's like sometimes they're worried about the toxin, usually with Titus, but they're not worried about themselves or anybody else. So it's kind of
We're
funny.
immune. We've built up a resistance over the years. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting concept, but we arrive at Kilika, obviously, or what's left of it, and Waka's well, Yuna gets arrives is like, I'm here. Is there any other summoner I can perform
Yeah.
ascending? You don't really know what that is, and so she goes off to do that. Waka's like, we're gonna look around to help.
They say something that is kind of going to be like a really big part of this game. And you
Yes,
mentioned the setting where they say, our loved ones, we fear they become fiends.
yes,
And so at this point, you really don't know what the heck that means, but we're about to find out.
yes. We get a very iconic cinematic again because I mean it's just basically one long cinematic at this
Yeah.
point in the game, and it's of course Yuna's like sending little ritual, and she's walking on the water and doing her little twirls and spins,
Yeah.
and
Who
but it's in
knew?
yeah. I know,
She
right?
could walk on water.
Yeah, well, apparently she can. You never do it again, but
Pretty epic.
yeah, it is pretty sweet. And you see all the bodies basically under the water. They're all kind of wrapped
Yeah.
in all that. And that's when you start to see the fireflies, right? And you start to see them flying out. And I think actually right before this, though, was the information that Lulu gives, right? He's like,
Yeah.
dude, out of everyone that he could have asked, he goes to Lulu. It's like, dude, know
Yeah.
your people, man. Of course. She's like, are you sure it's the sin's toxin that's wrong with you? And it's like, gosh. And so she basically
Just thinks it's,
explains,
like, really dumb.
yeah, that when people die, they like still linger, and they envy those who are living, and then that turns into anger, and then they turn into fiends if they aren't sent. So basically, everything we've fought up to this point were people at some point that weren't properly like sent to what she says the far plane. So we're assuming is like the resting area at this point is kind of just what we're assuming.
And this is just such a cool concept in this game. It's like it really takes, the concept of the afterlife and reincarnation and things like that to a whole nother level. I mean, we're all already kind of getting exposed to the religion of Spira, where
Yeah.
you've got these
Yevon.
temples, you've got the summoners, you've got all of this type of stuff, and now they introduce kind of this concept of basically the sending. And also, the scene is so beautiful with the pyreflies and everything, and the pyreflies are a really big part of this game.
Yes, and that does fill in everything now, because up to this point, if you kill something, you see it kind of just poof, it dissipates in the fireflies, and it's kind of like,
Exactly.
it just looks cool, but you didn't really know that was actually symbolic, and that
Right.
you're sending them on, I guess, or they're just going to become another fiend. But that's why when she dances and they start to basically come out of the bodies, the pyreflies as well, that really gives you all that context about the correlation between all that. And yeah, man, I mean, it's really interesting. It's obviously, it's like one of the main underlying tones of the whole game is this whole system of sending, and the fact that I guess if you die, you don't just go away, you can still linger, and so kind of interesting.
And I mean, again, just such a beautiful scene too, because you've got like the sunset, just the multicolored, pyreflies everywhere. Yuna's getting lifted up on kind of like this fountain almost.
Yeah.
And it's one of the better FMVs in the whole game.
It is. And so after that cinematic ends, Tidus kind of talks about how, I don't know, he didn't want to ever see that again, essentially, know, because while, she danced and all that stuff, it was too much. And Yuna goes to Lulu, I hope I did okay. You did well, but no tears next time. But that is actually where we're going to end it for now, because then we get to go into Kilika and move on and pray at the temple and, get to meet some very fun people.
Exactly. Got some good stuff coming up.
Luca goers are going to be Luca goners. And so we thank you all for listening, of course. As usual, you can stop by our Instagram, same handle as the podcast name. That's where we post all our media. We've been loving the interaction. We knew it was going to go this way, and we're so happy because, you all love 10, we all love 10, and it's just everyone's really enjoying it, having great conversations. And so definitely keep that rolling. We're really enjoying all the interaction with that. And something new that we've started with this Final Fantasy X podcast has been YouTube playthroughs. So we've started to record our thought process with this, and also just kind of interesting twist with it as well. And happy to say that Alex has just started to as well. So if you were watching my few that I have out so far, Alex is also going to start tossing his up. And so go check that out. It'll be great stuff. I also have kind of a fun Final Fantasy 12 little job challenge thing going on. So if you're interested in Final Fantasy 12 at all and want to see that, stop by our YouTube and check that out.
Yeah, and that's been really good stuff, man. Been enjoying your Final Fantasy 12 challenge run.
It is a lot of fun.
But, it looks good.
And then, of course, lastly, you can stop off at our website. It is a final stop for FinalFantasyTalks.com. We just have blog posts there. You can also check out the episodes there if you want to listen to them. And then also, just most importantly, is we do have all of the links to everything on our homepage. I know on Instagram, we'll post about YouTube or something, and you can't really go there because, you're kind of limited on what you can actually put on your profile. So if you are looking for a one-stop place for all of the links to all of our stuff, our website is where you'd want to go. All right, everyone, that's going to be it for us on this episode. We'll catch you next time. I'm Mark.
And I'm Alex.
And this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks.